everyone. So today's video is a thermal device comparison test. The main reason for the test is I was given this unit by Thermal Master to review, and this is their T2 Max model. They asked me if I had any other devices that I could compare it against, so I said, well, I have actually, so hence why this has become a bit of a comparison video rather than a straight up review. So I said, well, I've got a Thermnight 225R still that I can use, and that's of a comparable thermal capability according to the spec sheet. So that was the main one that I'm going to compare it against. I've also been given a Oneleaf MT1000 thermal scope, which is going to be a completely different review on a separate occasion about this. I don't want this to overshadow what I'm doing here with this, but I am going to include some footage on that because it's very interesting to see the price difference and the thermal quality jump up. But anyway, back to this again. So the Thermal Master T2 Max. In this current setup here, with the handle, the thermal device itself, and this additional screen, this comes in at 426 quid. So you don't have to have the screen, you can use an old smartphone and you can use it via an app. If you only want the handle and the thermal spotting device, it's 310 quid. I will include all of the details on the description, the links, etc. There is an additional rangefinder for this as well, and that's an extra 154 quid. These are all prices that have been transferred from dollars, so that they might sound a bit odd, but that's how it is. So a little bit about this unit. So they call it a 20-in-1, and I believe that's in reference to the fact that you can put it on a rifle, you can put it on a crossbow, you've got multiple different colour palettes, you've got all sorts of things. So I think there's a little bit of artistic license there with the 20-in-1. They claim that this will see a 6-foot man at 1600 yards. I know it will. I haven't tested it, but I saw another YouTube video on this, and the guy did go to quite a lot of trouble to set up that test, and he actually did it. So I know that's right, I don't need to check that myself. But what I did do in my test, I got these hand warmers. They're only about the size of a tea bag, and I've put them on one of my permissions, and I've gone out to 350 yards to see how far I can spot one of these with all three of these devices. So a little bit more about this actual unit. So this comes with a 2-year warranty. It's very easy to use. It's a joy to use, in all fairness. Charging wise, you've got to charge the handle. There's a massive battery in the handle, so you've got to charge that separately to the screen. That confused me a bit because I charged that up, and massive big battery in there, I thought it's going to last ages, and I didn't charge the screen, and I got about an hour out of it and it went flat. So that was a little bit unexpected because the instruction manual is not fantastic, so that's a bit of a learning curve. So just bear that in mind if you do buy one of these. The manual's not great. So it's very easy to use. It doesn't record audio though, but it does record the footage, and they claim 18 hours battery life. There's the usual sort of stuff. There's multiple reticles, multiple colour palettes. You can zoom via pinching in and pinching out, that sort of thing. And there is an app if you didn't want to buy this device and just use an old smartphone. So the full kit here I've got in my hand, obviously it doesn't have the rangefinder. This comes in at 426 quid. If you only wanted the handle and you used an old smartphone, you're looking at 310 quid, which is actually a bit of a bargain, really. The quality of the thermal is certainly worth 310 quid. It's a good bit of kit, really easy to use. I know it looks a little bit delicate, but I've actually given this a bit of, not on purpose, but it's had a bit of abuse. You know, it's swinging off my neck into like gate posts and fences and stuff like that, and then it's been fine. And actually went out last night, and my son claims not to have dropped it. But it was covered in pig shit this morning. That's all. Why is it all muddy? I don't know. I had mud on my hands, and I touched it. I said, right, okay. Because my son came out shooting last night with me. He absolutely loved it, by the way. So that's enough of me talking for now. I will go on to the comparison of footage now. Enjoy. So what am I doing this week? Well, I've got a thermal test, but with a twist. I didn't want to do the usual sort of, oh, we can see a person at a mile, right? Who really gives a stuff about that? That doesn't, to coin a phrase, that doesn't impress me much. Insert Shania Twain. Enjoy. That don't impress me much. Oh, I must admit, bloody hell, I had a thing for her back in the day, especially in this video. Wow, unbelievable. Anyway, that's me having a little moment and a little twinge. So back to business. Right. So the plan, I'll spin the camera around and show you what the plan is. So I've got this lovely, lovely big field to play in. From memory, it's about 350 yards long. So the plan is, I've got these hand warmers. Got them off eBay, not mega money, a few quid for 10 or whatever it is I got. About the size of a tea bag. So my intention is to place these metal rabbits at different distances along this field and see how each thermal device picks up something the size of a tea bag. Should be quite an interesting video. These are going to get bulldog clipped onto the front of the rabbits like that. I've got my long range camera, so you can see I'm not bullshitting. I'll zoom in, zoom out and all the rest of it. Funnily enough, a mate of mine, he said, well, I think that's a bit controversial. You've used like the LGBTQ colours. I was like, well, it didn't even cross my mind. So he says, well, that might cause offence, you know, you're shooting that, you know, rainbow coloured rabbits and that. Well, it's just spray paint I had kicking around in the workshop. I didn't think twice about it, but kind of funny, I suppose, isn't it? Right, that's enough for me. I'm going to go get set up and resume the action. Cheers, guys. Long range camera. There we go. No lies here. So I'm going to zoom in to each one of these rabbits. So 100 yards. 200 yards, 300 yards, 350. So just for your reference, that is at 300 times zoom now. So 350, 300, the purple one, 200, 100, and all the way back out. This is what I mean. This tea bag sized hand warmer, bulldog clipped onto a rabbit. just in case it was raining, I put this little shelter on the back of all the rabbits, and I was going to put the tea bag thing in there, but it's not raining, so that's not required. So they just clipped onto the front. So this is 350 yards. So I'll spin round. Not that you're going to be able to see much. There's another rabbit. Another rabbit, another rabbit. And back there at that tree is my position. I don't know how these are going to perform, but I think if a thermal device can see something the size of a tea bag at this distance, it's not a bad device, is it really? I mean, Jesus, a tea bag at 350 yards. Fair enough, you might not be able to make out what it is, but you can see a heat signature and you can get closer and investigate, can't you? So that's my view on it. I'm not one of these that is super impressed by something that says, all right, well, we can see a pickup truck at 2 miles. Right, okay, well, who cares? That doesn't really mean much to me. If you can see something very small within a shootable distance, that's more impressive for me. So if you're seeing something of this size, it's 300 yards. So if you're seeing something that size, you're easily going to be able to see a fox or a deer, something like that. So, right, that's enough for me. Hope I'm not boring the shit out of you too much. I'll crack on with the footage now. So first up, we've got the T2 Max. Now I'm filming this on the screen as well as on here. I'll put up a little sample of this, what this is recording, on the video, but for the most of the video I'm gonna do the recording off my mobile phone, because then you're seeing a true representation of what you're seeing. So there, I put it on black hot because it seemed to pick up black better. I'll run through the colour palettes. Actually, it's alright, isn't it? It's picking up different ones there. So this is the 100-yard one. That's quite vivid. Okay, quite impressive. Green, not so good. I'll put it back on black hot because that seemed to be quite good. Right, okay, so that's the first one, 100 yards. Let's see if I can pick up the second one. So that one there is picking up the second one. Just fine tune it a little bit if I can. So there, 200 yards. So we've got 200 yards with the T2 Max. Can we see 300? This might be a struggle, because bearing in mind, these are only the size of tea bags. Very small. Let me just adjust this a little bit. Right, so we've got 100, 200 yards. Can we see 300? Now I think 300 is just a little bit too far for this. But as I say, it's a tea bag at 200 yards. That is impressive. For this type of scope and what it is, that is quite impressive, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't expecting that. The manufacturers for this scope claim to see a human at 1640 yards, I believe it is. So that, for me, a tea bag at 200 is a much more realistic test and assessment of what you can see with this. Right, so that's enough for this one. Field test anyway. So for this test, I've just chucked the 225R on top of the 17 HMR, just to keep it steadier for me really. Okay guys, so we are now on to the Thermnight 225R, obviously day mode to start with, so that's 100 yards. Zoom in a bit. 200 yards. I'll try and tweak up the focus. That's not too bad. You could take a shot on that, I think. 300 yards. I'm already on max zoom. 300 yards. 350. So actually, that I didn't think it would be as clear as that. So 300 yards, you can definitely make out that rabbit silhouette on the day and night mode. Go back out. Right, thermal now. So let's see what we can do with this. So we'll tune that up a little bit. So that's the first rabbit. Yeah, once again, you're only making out a teabag, it's not a rabbit, so that's quite impressive. If that was a rabbit, you'd see the silhouette. 200 yards. Oh, that's quite interesting. So 200 yards, once again, definite heat signature. 300 yards, this way it gets a bit spicy. Easily make out that heat signature. 350. Let's just tweak that a bit. So you know what, yeah, 350. It's there. It's enough to get you to walk across the field at midnight to see what it is, isn't it? But bearing in mind, this is a teabag sized thing. So if that was a rabbit or a fox, you'd have absolutely no bother seeing that. You know, that might even be a rabbit sat further beyond there, who knows. Let's see if there's different colour palettes. Oh, black hot, right, okay. So yeah, they pop out quite nice again. Trade one. Iron hot. Yeah, once again, all quite clear. Red hot. White hot. Bet you that's a rabbit or something that's sat up in that hedgerow. That's a good distance away as well, isn't it? Let's see if that pings it. 610 yards. Okay, that is impressive. So this test is the Oneleaf.Ai MARS MT1000. And we've got those same targets out, 100, 200, 300, 350. Teabag sized hand warmers. Okay, so thermal testing now. 100 yards, 200 yards, 350. Now the 300 yard one was over this area. That must have gone cold because I can't see that now. Let's see if there's anything up in the fields. So there's a real rabbit. "150 yards. Very easy to spot that. Tell you what, I'll try some colour palettes. Sepia, iron bow, Rainbow, Night, Aurora, Red Hot, Jungle, Medical, Black Hot, Glory Hot, White Hot. So then guys, what did you think to that? I'm going to give a little bit of a summary now to what I think the best use of this device is, and if I think it's worth the money and stuff like that. So, as a spotter, to investigate heat sources, heat signatures further by way of walking close or using the night vision scope, etc., it's great. Really is good. It's so easy to use. Very easy. Like I said, my 14-year-old son, he was using it last night. He thought it was amazing. Really enjoyed the ratting session last night. Would I use it as a dedicated scope? You can do, but I don't think that it's suited for air rifles, definitely, because there's no ballistic calculator on it, even if you bought the rangefinder. I don't think that you get enough clarity to know what you'd be shooting at over say a distance of maybe 75 or 100 yards. I wouldn't be confident about taking a shot because you wouldn't know exactly what it was. So as a rifle scope, no, I don't think it's the right thing to use for that. As a spotter, it's fantastic. A couple of negatives would be, I don't know why they don't include a like a D D-shackle to screw into the bottom of there, so you can hang it around your neck on a lanyard. I think that'd be a very good addition to this. I've actually ordered some off eBay myself for the sake of like £5 for two. It'd be very nice if they included one. The other thing that was slightly annoying was the handler's got a massive 5000 milliamp battery inside there. I don't see why that can't power the screen as well. So it's a little bit awkward that you've got to charge a battery and you've got to charge the screen. The focus is quite small, it's quite fiddly. But I mean, it's perfectly usable. It doesn't slip once you've got it set or anything, so that's not great, but you know, it is what it is really. I know it looks quite delicate, as I said earlier. It is to a certain degree. I wouldn't be confident about, you know, full on dropping it on concrete or anything like that. Although it probably would be okay. It's got like heavy plastic padding around the sides of the screen and stuff, so I think it would be okay. But personally, I wouldn't be over the moon if I did that. But it's probably going to take the knocks. So would I buy it? Yeah. As a spotter, it's brilliant. The screen, you can alter the brightness setting on the screen. So I know some people are going to think, well, you got that hanging down, you're going to have, it's going to be lighting your face up, it's going to be lighting up everything. You can adjust the settings very easily to make that so that it's not going to light everything up. So that's good. It's very easy to use. Very simple in operation. I mean, how easy is that to just pick it up from your chest, assuming you've got it on a neck lanyard, just hold it up and spot things. It's a really good design for that. If you're out shooting with a mate or whatever, you can both look at the screen, you can both be spotting, so that's a great little feature as well. It's got a 2-year warranty, which is good. That's reassuring in this day and age. Like I say, priced at 310 quid if you didn't want the screen, or an extra 116 quid if you wanted the screen. Personally, I'd go for the screen, but 426 quid, it's getting up there in price a little bit for that. But having said that, I've used like that Hick Micro LE10 for instance, and that was about 550-600 quid worth, and it was absolute garbage. Compared to this, it was garbage, and it was a lot more money. You couldn't see as much detail. I really didn't think that was worth the money. But this, yeah, I'd be happy to spend the money on this. How do I feel it performed in the field? Now, as I've said on the video, to see something that size at 200 yards with something that size, I thought that was very impressive. I was chuffed with that. I thought it was a good bit of kit. Would it see something the size of a man at 1600 yards? Yeah, I think it would. Would you know what you're looking at? No, you really wouldn't know. It'd just be a blob in the distance. So maybe a little bit of artistic license on the manufacturer's claims there. Anyway guys, I hope you've enjoyed the review. Comparison. If you have, please consider liking, commenting and subscribing, and I'll catch up with you on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Eddie! Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.